Hey, what's up? It's Olivia West. You are watching the Chris Gunther Show.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Chris Gunther Show. Thank y'all so much for watching. Remember to like and share this video. I would greatly appreciate it. On today, we are so honored to have the one, the only Olivia West, who is the in-game host for the Pacers and the Indiana Fever. What's going on with you, Liv?
What's up, family? Happy to be on the show today.
I'm glad we finally get a chance to like really sit down and chop it up. Man, it was so great to finally connect with you at All-Star Weekend.
It was NBA All-Star 2024 in Indianapolis was an amazing event. I was so blessed and privileged to be a part of it. And we crossed paths a couple of times at All-Star, but that's what All-Star is for. It's to bring the whole community together because we're all stars. We need the players on the court making the baskets. We need the businesses to partner and sponsor the pop-ups. We need the media outlets to tell the stories, the trials to the trophies that everyone's turning into NBA All-Star weekend.
Man, you was doing your thing out there too. I gotta give you your flowers on that, man. You was holding it down from hosting the crossover events to hosting things for the actual NBA. Like, what made you even get into hosting to begin with? Let's start there.
What made me get into hosting to begin with is the fact that I knew I had a gift and I wanted to share that gift with others. When you're given a gift, you should use that in service to others. And so I knew that I had this gift of gab, as my mom always called it. I so badly wanted to be good at something else, but she's like, baby girl, you have the gift of gab. I said, well, what do I do with that? Being a host, being an in-arena host is what I use my gift for. So I liaise with the fans and brands that are at these games for timeout hits, welcoming the fans to the stadium, guiding them through the whole process. Sometimes we're on the court with it, playing fun games. Some games I'm up all the way in the balcony having fun and turn up with fans. I love to throw out free shirts, free stuff from the team store, and give out some
Yeah.
monetary prizes too. So, I mean, you know how it is, that fan experience. A lot of people are there, yeah, to watch the game, but it's sport and entertainment. And so I'm part of that entertainment crew.
Definitely is entertaining. There is nothing like a t-shirt toss in the arena. Everyone is getting up on their feet, yelling, screaming. If it was up to me, I'd give one to everybody, but that's just impossible.
I know. And I always feel so bad too, because people would get upset, but hey, why did you give
Yes,
me a
they will.
t-shirt?
Oh man, I got
I'm
cussed out
like,
a couple
damn, you
times.
saw I had two shirts and like 2,000 people. And there's never a right way to do it. But let me give you some insight. Let's say you're at a basketball game and the host, the MC, comes walking in your section. Hey, sit up straight a little bit,
Yep.
smile, wave or something, say go Pacers and go Fever. And I'm picking you every time. Another good thing. Yeah, that's the key right there. Smile, make good eye contact, and make sure that you're wearing our team stuff. So for example, I have Indiana Fever jersey on right now. It's actually number 7, Aaliyah Boston. That's my girl. Obviously, amazing player. But if
Absolutely.
someone is wearing this jersey, better yet, if I'm wearing my jersey and then I see you wearing yours, I'm picking you for sure. You're getting a shirt for sure.
As it should be. I'll go ahead and throw this little plug out here because I've never even talked about this publicly. So when I was in game hosting, if I knew somebody in the crowd that came up from my hometown, I would kind of like spot them out and I would make sure everyone is up on their feet and I got to lock in and see where they're at. And I always toss the t-shirt over there to them just to be like, look, y'all came up here to see me do my thing. It's only right.
Absolutely. Well, depending on the size of the venue you're in, some of my people when they come, we're playing a really good opponent. They're not sitting in section 2. They're more likely in section like 200. And so it's awful hard for me to get my arm up there. I mean, we're talking about stadiums of 20,000,
Yeah.
16,000 plus. But listen, when I can control it, I absolutely do. But listen, it's my job. It's my job to make sure everybody's engaged, that everybody's having a good time. So I like to be playful with it. But you're right. There are not enough t-shirts to go around.
It's really not. All-Star Weekend was last month. It was one of the best experiences that we both were a part of. I'm glad that we had a chance to connect with it. How did you get connected with All-Star Weekend in Indy?
how I got connected with All-Star Weekend was really my work being an in-game host with the Pacers. Obviously, we were the host team, host city, and so they wanted to really connect, our people to these different opportunities. Of course, we brought in some outside talent, because there were a plethora of games between the Rising Star game, the Celebrity game, the skills contest. We had all those different things. So we were spread thin. However, there were so many other talented individuals that they flew in, came in, and all participated in All-Star Weekend. Also, kind of a fun fact too, it's not just the front-facing talent that's from all the different teams. Actually, everybody across the board. For
Right.
example, the person that was calling the game in my ear was actually from Charlotte. So she's from the Hornets. There was another guy that my stage manager, he was from the Clippers. So it was just this team that we just all met up and then produced this show. It was a lot of fun, a lot of learning.
I'll be the first one to admit, out of all the stuff I've done, working All-Star Weekend is a joy because literally everybody there, from the people in the front to the people in the back behind the scenes, everybody wants to see you win. Everybody's working together. And if you don't like something, they'll be like, okay, we can take it out or we can redo it the way you want to see fit. Like, I've never worked any kind of job where everybody just wants to see each other win.
That's awesome. And that just goes to show that the sport community, obviously, when our teams play each other, I'm rooting for my team every time. I'm rooting for my
100%.
Pacer guys. I'm rooting for our Fever ladies. However, when it comes to producing an event like that, especially in the space that we work, it is truly more collaboration over competition, right? And of course, we all have our special ways that we do media and storytelling, but everyone's voices are welcome, and that's what makes it so cool.
Not only that, but I feel like it makes our jobs better when the people that you connect with are actually good people. I'll go ahead and share this. When we were on the red carpet for the gospel celebration, and huge shout out to Phyllis and her team because they did a wonderful job. That was the best red carpet I had ever been a part of. But the reason why I wanted to bring that up was because I finally had a chance to interact and connect with you. Yeah, like I know I was already following you on IG and things like that, but it's nice when you're actually able to connect with the person and they're actually a good person when you connect with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Praise God. It is, relationships over everything. Of course, people can have a title, people can have a role. Sometimes, people have a big social media following, but it's really that relationship. It's those conversations. It's, hey, how open are they to connecting and to kind of sharing some of their insights? And that's what I enjoy about it so, so much. And of course, not everybody is available and accessible at all times just because the sheer volume of inquiries some people get, right? I even find myself having to say no to some things. It's like, hey, I would love to sit down and chop it up with you, but I can't do that because there's 10 people who asked. And all of a sudden, that's 10 hours. And so, what I can do is I can go on a podcast episode and I can give you the game there. You can review it and then let me know if you have questions.
That makes a lot more sense though, because I think the biggest misconception is people they'll see guys like us in the spotlight and think that we're on 24/7 and we could be everywhere. We could do everything. When the reality is we're human like everybody else. And we still have to take a second to just take a deep breath, get a drink of water, and try to remember that we're human at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Just before we started this interview, I was like, hey, give me a minute because I need to go get water. I need to go get myself right because yeah, definitely you got to care for yourself. And as I think about what I'm building, right, my business, all the people that I'm interviewing, the interview is only going to be as good as I am. And I can't be good if I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm not eating good, if I'm not sleeping good, all of those different things, if I'm not taking care of my spirit, my mind, and my body. And so it's so important to take care of yourself. But then when it's time to do the work, listen, you got to do the work because big time players make big time plays. And I think, especially in this media space, right? Everybody creates content. It's 2024, right? Everybody's creating content. So, what makes your content different? What makes your interview style different? What are you making people think? What are you making people feel? What are you making people do after they have engaged with you, yourself in real life, or some of your content?
100% accurate. And that's something that I remember when I first started. I wanted to stand out and do it the best way that I possibly could. And I could tell that I'm, actually in the right direction just because I've been able to connect with some amazing people such as you. You're also the in-game host for the Fever. Take me through that. Like, how did you get that?
It all started with the Indiana Fever. It all started with the WNBA. Growing up as a little girl, I've got to be honest, I didn't watch the NBA too much, but I did watch the WNBA because I was a player. And I saw so much of myself in these women. Obviously, they're playing at the highest level in the world. The WNBA is the most competitive and elite league on earth. However, I didn't really watch the NBA too much because when I looked at them, I didn't see myself. I didn't see women, I didn't see girls. And so growing up, I idolized Tamika Catchings. I loved the Indiana Fever because I was born and raised in Indiana. And so it's amazing. It's a blessing and privilege to be able now to work with and on behalf of the team. It all started with the Fever. It all started last season, the beginning of the 2023 season with the Indiana Fever. This was the first time I had ever done any type of hosting, any type of public speaking on that stage. And I just got good with it. I'm not saying that it always sounded good. There were definitely some really rocky games. And of course, we're humans, so we'll still mess up from time to time. However, the Pacers about midway through the season said, "Hey, what is your winter and like what does your fall and winter look like?" I said, "Well, I mean, it depends." And they
Right.
asked me to come on board. And so an absolute blessing. I'm so lucky. I'm grateful. And things just go your way when you show up, do good work, and treat people well.
You hit on something that I was actually about to talk about, showing up. That is one of the hardest parts, if not the hardest part, because sometimes a game that you probably didn't do your best on, you could get real discouraged and you could say, man, maybe I made a mistake trying to do this. How do you recover even after maybe a bad night?
You have to continuously show up. And it's tough. It's rough. I feel all my feelings. I'll mess up on the mic. And maybe in the moment I won't get too upset, but going home, driving home from the game, the next morning, I'm thinking about it, right? But just as any good athlete, you got to have a short-term memory. Because if you turn the ball over the last play, if you keep thinking about that turnover, you're probably going to do it again. And so I try to just give myself grace. Okay, Olivia, you're not perfect, are you? No. All right, what do you have to do today to be better? And in order to be better, you got to show up again. Because regardless of the game that I might have lost yesterday, I have another opportunity today. And every day is another chance to get it right. Every day is another chance to get better. And I know that we love to talk about that 1% better each day. Well, sometimes you're not going to hit that 1%. Sometimes that's going to be the day that you're going to mess up and you might stay the same. You might even backslide depending on how big of a mistake it was. I've called people the wrong name multiple times. I thought it was would end my career, but it didn't. It just reiterated the fact that I want to be great. I not only want to be my best, but I want to be the best. And that's when you got to determine you got that dog in you or not. Is this the race that you want to run? Because if you make a mistake and say, yeah, I'm cool, I'm good, I'm probably getting fired and I'm probably not going to be the best at this, then that's not the fight for you. But for me, when I make a mistake, yeah, I get upset. I grieve about it. I maybe cry a little bit. No, just kidding. I don't cry. I actually do. Yeah, thugs cry. Like a thug cry though, no.
It
It's
happens though.
it happens. It happens. And then guess what? You wipe those tears and you get back up and you keep on going. And that has been a testament just to my journey time and time again.
Here we are coming to the end of Women's Month, where everyone should be celebrating. First of all, this is just me. I've said this on multiple episodes that I've done. I honestly feel the greatest creation that the good Lord ever made was Black women. I really do. I believe that
Hallelujah.
wholeheartedly. God bless all of. First of all, God bless women, but it's something about them Black queens, man. It just hit different.
Period. Come on now, brother. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, as we come to the end of Women's History Month, I just think it allows us another opportunity to celebrate the women that we love, the women that loved us, the women that we came from, and the women that we give back to. I mean, it's a great month, right? There's so many reasons to celebrate in a season like this. And I just give honor. I just give honor to the many, many women that have influenced me, who have loved me, who have shepherded me. And I'm just so grateful. I'm the daughter of a very strong woman, my mom, Kathy. She's amazing. She's a warrior, but yet she's gentle. She's loving, she's caring, she's kind, and she's totally my biggest fan. That's actually probably one of my favorite parts about doing this whole thing. I love when my mom's in the building. I mean, there could be 18,000 people there, but I'm so glad that my mom is one of them.
It does make a difference. 100% makes a difference no matter how old you get. Anytime you hear your mom is watching or somebody of that caliber, it definitely does something to you. What advice would you give to another young woman of color that wants to follow in your footsteps?
Advice that I would give is to be yourself, 100% yourself. Now, what that means is obviously bring the best version of yourself. Be sure you're preparing, but I would really just recommend showing up as you. And you're probably going to get some no's. People are going to say no, which is spelled N-O, which is also an acronym for next opportunity. Just next opportunity. It's not no, it's not denial. Sometimes it's just a delay. It's a redirection, right? No just means next opportunity. And that's how I've always lived my life. I get a lot of no's. I actually get more no's than I get yeses, but the yeses are the ones that we celebrate. The yeses are the ones that we walk in. And so if someone's trying to do this, yeah, you can read, you can study, you can listen to podcasts, you can reach out to people, but just show up and do the work. And whatever that is for you, if you want to be a sports reporter, start reporting on sports, right? You can use your own social media channels to do it. If you want to, let's say you want to be a photographer and you want to do sport photography for a team. Well, sometimes media passes are a little difficult to get, but what can you do? You can go to your local gym, do some sport photography. You can go to a tournament in your city and do some film and do some video. There's always a way in. There's always a way in. It might not be through the front door with the red carpet and someone helping you carry your bags, but it could be a window. It could be talking to people who work in an organization. It could be doing an internship. It could be saying, okay, maybe I'm not even the age to get an internship yet. Let me shadow. Let me just hit up a team or their operations department or some job or role that I like. Let me just shadow them. Hey, like, I don't even want anything. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to give me any special treatment. Can I just shadow you for a day? Can I shadow you for a game? There are so many opportunities to do that. And also, you got to be different. You have to be, there are so many people who are just trying to be a carbon copy of somebody else. That's not going to work. There's only one of me. There's only one of you, and there's no one that's youer than you. And so bring your authentic self, show up, shadow, intern, ask questions, and be really consistent and persistent. Winners don't take no for an answer. If you are hungry, and let's say, yeah, let's just say you're hungry and you go ask for food, or I was gonna say get in the refrigerator, but listen, we all know how our refrigerators look.
All the
Sometimes there's
way.
something in there, and that's our own fault. However, all I'm saying is like if you're hungry and you're asking for food, and the person keeps saying no, no, well, you're only gonna take that answer for so long, right? Before you start to get hangry, you're gonna start to get hangry. You're gonna start to get a little bit more desperate. So until you get desperate, things are not gonna just fall into place. So never beg for opportunities, but position yourself so that you are the one that gets the access. You're the one that gets the internship. How can you be different? How can you be better? How can you show up and solve people's problems?
100%. I think the fact that you're able to hit on that is incredible because we've all been told no way more times than we've been told yes. But those little yeses, they continue to add up if you just keep going. Even though I understand Rome wasn't built in a day, it was still built. I totally understand God didn't create everything in one day, but it still got built. So sometimes you just, what I'm saying, really got to keep going and keep tapping in, and next thing you know, you continue to rise, you continue to elevate. And it's been so fun just getting a chance to briefly talk with you. I understand you a busy woman, and I know we got a jet soon. But what are some of the things that you have coming up that the people can look forward to?
Some of the things that I've got coming up. All right, Olivia West, what does my next month look like? So next week, actually, I'm so excited and blessed to be hosting the National Invitational Tournament and the Women's National Invitational Tournament. So the NIT and the WBIT. The semifinal and final rounds are hosted in Indianapolis, Indiana at Butler University. So I'm going to be hosting those finals, which is going to be very exciting, both men and women. So that's going to be a whole week of gameplay. Obviously, with the semifinals, right? They're playing for that final spot, and then the finals, and that's the first week of April. The week after that is actually going to be wrapping up the NBA regular season. So the Indiana Pacers' last home game is April 14th. April 14th, I'll be hosting that game. And then actually on April 15th, I'm going to be hosting the Indiana Fever draft party because I don't know if y'all heard, but the Indiana Fever are getting the number one draft pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. So you'll have to tune in on April 15th just to see who will select.
There's so much stuff I wish I could say on camera, but I'm gonna just keep them comments to myself. Before we jump out of here, now there's no way I can have you here without asking about the opportunity that you had to sit down with one of the greatest football players of all time and Shannon Sharpe. Can you take me back through that experience, what it was like to sit down and have that conversation with him?
Yes, I was able to talk with Shannon Sharpe on February 22nd. We sat down for about a 45-minute conversation in front of a live audience of 1,000 people, and Shannon told his story. I was there to guide him through telling his own story. Obviously, he's the proprietor of Club Shay Shay. He has over 3 million subscribers on his YouTube. Host First Take with Stephen A. Very, very accomplished. And the story that Shannon shared from the stage was not about any of that. It was actually about how he grew up and the different character values that he had growing up. He talked a lot about his granny. He shared this story that really, really stuck with me, and that his granny said that her dream is to have a decent house. And the way that she defined decent house was a house that it could rain and storm all night and she would wake up dry. He came from really humble beginnings. And his why was not the money or the power or the influence or the riz or any of that. His why was creating a better life for his family, for his granny, for the people who sacrificed for him. I was surprised. I was surprised at how down to earth that conversation was, right? Because we know Shannon as someone who sits on the couch and has very candid conversations with some people who spill the beans
All the
and
time.
who will expose people, right? And so I had no idea what to expect going into that conversation. I was like, some of the other people I've seen sit with Shannon say some crazy things. So I hope he doesn't have that effect on me. I was just kidding. But in
I'd
all
have
seriousness,
had your back, Liv.
yeah, yeah, just kidding. The only thing that I'll ever expose is the keys to success, the keys to success that I've unlocked so far, and just the journey. And I always want to expose people to Jesus Christ because that is my Lord and Savior. Come on now. Totally weak. But I was surprised. He didn't talk too much about football. The brother that built his life first and foremost on football, he didn't talk too much about that. He didn't talk too much about his businesses. He talked about his family. He talked about things that mattered. And I really appreciated that. He also gave really good advice when it came to building your own. Building your own. And this is what Shannon said about building your own. Okay, wow, you have something that works. Let's say that's a full-time job, or you're doing something else, it works, it's stable. Build your thing, your business at the same time. And then when the time's right, leave. Don't be too quick to leave. Don't be too quick to throw it to the wind. Build it while you got your stability. And then you know when the time is right. He also said that no one can fire him from Club Shay Shay because he owns it. Any other place and space you can be fired from because you don't own it. You don't control it. And so if you're gonna build your own, that's how to go about it. Those were his only keys to business success that he really shared. Everything else was about family. Everything else was about just his utter belief in himself. Also, Chris, I cannot believe I didn't mention this. Listen, this is how busy the month is. I'm sitting down with Deion Sanders, Coach Prime,
Prime
on April
time.
11th. Yeah, it's prime time.
Before you go any further, let's stop and congratulate you right now because I don't want to reveal the story about the conversation that you and I had, but I'm just glad that you got it. That's all I'm gonna say publicly.
Yeah, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. And the thing about me with some things I'm expectant of, right? Like I expect great things to happen, right? Because I've put in work. But there are some things that's just favor. That's just I'm so glad that I had the right skills, the right relationships at the right time. And I think sometimes when big things happen like this, when important things happen like this, I would be remiss not to say that there's some luck associated with it too, right? Of course, there is divine provision, there's blessing. I definitely believe that God, preordains things for people at certain times.
100%.
But there's a lot of luck. I mean, you can be real prepared, but you got to be in the right place at the right time with the right resume and track record.
And I can honestly say, me being at All Star Weekend and getting a chance to meet Olivia West and connect in person was I was at the right place at the right time. Before we jump out of here, if anybody wanted to connect with you and follow you, how can they do that?
Follow me on Instagram at live_West, WEST underscore. I'm on Facebook too. I'm not on Facebook as much, but another really good place to hit me is on LinkedIn. I really enjoy LinkedIn because I think it's a professional forum that people like to share their stories and I like to share mine. So hit me up on Instagram. You'll see a lot more of me. I used to not post too much because I kind of was like, oh, posting is boasting. And I was like, no, it's not. Posting is sharing your story.
Got
And
to.
my story is a part of my gift. And so I'm going to share it with others.
Well, I'm glad that today we were able to share just a little bit of your story. One of the last questions I always ask my guests: who would you like to see me interview next on the Chris Gunther Show? And if you have any type of contact, do you think you can help a young brother out?
The next person you should interview. Wow, Chris, that's a good question. I would say one of my good sisters in the sport industry, Bailey Jackson.
Yeah,
Bailey
absolutely.
Jackson of Bailey Jackson Sports. She's amazing. She's brilliant. She makes a lot of social media content, lots of TikTok content and reels, just recapping the latest and greatest news in sports. Bailey is so timely with these things. She used to be located in Indianapolis, but now she's in Chicago. And I mean, she's everywhere. She's everywhere. So you should definitely tap in with Bailey Jackson. She's amazing. I actually remember her and I meeting at a Fever game. And then I ran into her some months later. I was actually grilling hot dogs at this park in downtown Indy. How random, right? But how also divine.
Yeah.
So tap in with Bailey Jackson Sports. She's great.
Thank you so much for your time today, ladies and gentlemen. Olivia West on the Chris Gunther Show. Cue my theme song. I'll see y'all next time.